Hello, my name is Jack Mulcahy, and this is my final capstone project about implementing social justice into the middle school classroom. Throughout this final presentation, I will go over my proposal, the current trends in our education and society, the implementation of this curriculum, and then the curriculum itself that I've created for the 5 weeks, and then a conclusion. So the current trends in our society are pretty troubling, actually. Almost all literature that I've read and kind of accumulated over this past 2 years has accepted that racism is a normalized part of our mainstream society. Um, and it's been perpetuated and institutionalized in our society by these systems of power. And education is actually one of those that can perpetuate this cycle of racism as well. They sometimes use colorblind methods or business as usual approach where they aren't challenging themselves or really just going with the curriculum. Social studies in especially is an area where we can absolutely improve in this. We're still using very old curriculums and textbooks that um, aren't really moving us forward and having these tough conversations. So Joel Spring coins this term deculturalization, which is basically diminishing or taking away from cultures like Native Americans or African Americans or Hispanic and Latinos who have been historically oppressed. So this basically means that the cultural superiority of the white Anglo Americans since the time of age of exploration, where the Europeans came over and colonized the New World, has been perpetuated through America's history through various acts and policies that's legally institutionalized and perpetuated. So all these methods still occur today in today's educational worlds. Again, the social studies curriculum still absolutely reflects the culture of the dominant white society instead of being totally inclusive to others and those who have been historically oppressed. Right now, it's up to individual teachers to enact curriculum of social justice. There's no policy, there's no best practice right now, there's no district-wide approach. So it really is up to individuals, and not everyone has this information, not everyone has the training of social justice. So that's something I would definitely like to see change moving forward. So basically, throughout the whole curriculum, the overall goal, overarching theme is to help students achieve what Gene Finney calls an achieved ethnic identity, meaning that they're confident and comfortable and are celebrated with their own identity. Um, so really just helping students along that journey and finding confidence in their own identities um, and helping them become comfortable in their own skin. So to fight against these inequalities that we've just talked about, experts turn to social justice practices and really starts with the teacher first. So a teacher getting educated, performing what experts call a self-audit, which means analyzing your own implicit biases, analyzing your own beliefs, and then asking yourself, who am I as a teacher? And who do I serve by these pedagogies that I foster? So are you upkeeping the status quo of oppression, of racism, or are we challenging that status quo and are we moving forward as a society? So that's what we want teachers to ask themselves. My own curriculum that I came up is a 5-week proposal. So each week, 1 through 5 will be dedicated to a topic. Um, the overarching theme is social justice and having conversations and analyzing articles around those types of ideas. So I'll just go through week by week an overview real quick. Week 1 is going to focus on introducing social justice as a broad umbrella term. So there's 10 vocab words that we want to go over this week. Social justice, privilege, oppression, racism, systemic or institutional, bias, identity, diversity, anti-racism, and tolerance. We really start with week 1 and having a foundation of identity and finding out and being comfortable with who these students are. So then you can reflect and see who others are. So once you are comfortable with yourself, then you can move outward and be respectful and identify and accepting of others. So this week is kind of like an introduction. We have surveys and pre-tests on Monday. We're also going to be doing journaling throughout each week and every day, actually. Basically, seeing how they feel with each day, if they're feeling uncomfortable, if they're feeling happy, if they're excited, nervous, whatever the feeling is, and then what they learned for the day. And then at the end of each week on Friday, they'll summarize the week basically in their journal. Each Friday, there's going to be an I can statement. So students should be able to perform or have a conversation about what the week is about. I can identify who I am, or I can identify my identity, and then be respectful of others, and they'll write about that. So yeah, that's week one. Week two is analyzing the notion of privilege in our lives. Again, I teach in a community that's 90% white. My school has a lot of poverty, but mostly it's not very diverse. So this would really, really benefit these kids who might not even know that they've been living with this. And this might be the first time that they're hearing even the idea that they've had this. So there's a couple of activities throughout the week, and the culminating activity is a privilege walk on Friday, which is really powerful visual representation of how certain people have had privileges just by being the color that they are. So it's really, really interesting and moving to see what we've been carrying around with us kind of our whole lives and not even knowing it. Week three focuses on the history of racism in America. The biggest emphasis during this week is to help students navigate how it's been systematically and legally perpetuated through institutions in America. And this is going to be tough for students because most of their life and all their education and their assumptions have really been telling them that racism and oppression is like an individual act of hatred or ignorance, when really in actuality it's been institutionalized, and there's laws and policies that have been enacted by systems of power that have kept this going. And it's going to be difficult to kind of get them there for this week, but that's what we're focusing on. So yep, it's week three. Week four analyzes the bias in society and how students can analyze their own implicit biases. This is also going to be a week where we introduce anti-racism. And they're going to watch a film called I'm Not Racist, Am I? Really powerful film. I actually saw this in college, and it kind of jump-started my journey on this path as well. Yeah, so we're going to introduce that. There's some podcasts and some articles that we're going to analyze as well. Kind of having these tough conversations. And again, we are journaling and having those I can statements the whole time during the week. Week five is going to look at some current events in America, especially over the past couple of years, and even ongoing this year in the past couple of months with critical race theory and how certain states and districts have actually banned the teaching of that. So we're going to kind of look at that. And then students will actually come together and propose a plan of action for our own community, where they're coming up with plans like how to start conversation with family members or people in the community, people in the school, posters, after school activities, anything like this that they would want to come up with to facilitate a positive change for our community. In conclusion, I think it's absolutely crucial that social justice be implemented in the classroom. This 5-week curriculum kind of takes resources from all around and fuses them together for middle school learning. So I think it could be a great start for community actively working together for positive change in their lives, especially the way things have been going in the last couple of years. I think it's absolutely crucial that we as teachers and educators move forward with this and have those difficult conversations and challenge the status quo and really make waves with this. I wanted to end with a quote from Margaret Mead. I actually put this in my final paper as well and ended it with this. So it says, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." So even though this seems like a really big undertaking, it really can start with a conversation with yourself, and then start with a conversation with your classroom. If it leaks out, there's another classroom in your hallway that has the same kind of conversations. There's a hallway, now there's a whole school. and it leaks out into the community. So it really can start as a small conversation and step by step become bigger and bigger until your community has changed. So that is my final capstone. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.